Leave a like and I'll give you nothing, which I mean, at least I'm being honest, so you should definitely leave a like. What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new story, and just imagine for a second that there's a bully, right? And he's been a notorious bully. He's been mean to basically everyone at this point, right? And there's a kid who's pretty quiet and doesn't say that much. And the bully thinks that he can just simply pick on this kid because he's the quiet kid, but little does the bully know that he just made the worst mistake of his life, and that the quiet kid is actually some super crazy evil genius that destroys his life afterwards. Well, that is today's story. It's a great one. It's probably a long one too, so sit back, relax, subscribe if you're new, get comfortable, and let's jump right into it. Well, anyways, we're going to call the subscriber who submitted this story Liam. And anyways, right, so I'm going to introduce two more characters. The first character I want to introduce is we're going to call the bully, right? So this kid was kind of known as like the class bully. He was the kid who was always just like a jerk to everyone. He was the kid who always picked on everyone. I don't know if your class had one, but I think most kids just know that one kid in their class who's just like, I don't know, he's like the guy who's always picking on everyone, who's always just like such a jerk for no good reason. But for some reason, this kid has a lot of friends. I don't know if it's out of fear. I don't know if like middle school or high school like friendship dynamics are just messed up. I mean, they low-key are, but it's like, oh, if you can run like the fastest mile, then like, oh, you're now super popular. If you bully everyone, then you're popular. But hey, man, don't worry. Later in life, it gets a little less worse. But there's also another kid who we're just going to call the quiet kid. I'm not going to give the bully and quiet kid names just because you guys know when I have a bunch of names, I always mix them up and I'm not trying to confuse you guys. But anyways, the quiet kid wasn't really known for anything because he kind of just kept to himself. He wasn't like that weird. He didn't seem like that strange of a guy. That wasn't really the reason why he was always kind of keeping to himself, that he like didn't have friends or anything. He would hang out with some people occasionally, but for a lot of time, he would just kind of like chill by himself, and like I can kind of respect that. I definitely like enjoy time by myself, but I also enjoy time with other people. But this kid really just enjoyed chilling by himself. So this story all starts one day in class. Liam, the bully, and the quiet kid all have the same class together, so Liam is able to witness what happens. I think the bully was just bored one day, because he all of a sudden decides to go up to the quiet kid. And it just goes up to him. It's just like, dude. And the quiet kid looks up. He's like, yeah, what's up? And the bully's just like, like, your outfit looks like trash today. Like, are you blind or something? Or are you just, like, stupid? It was, like, the dumbest thing that anyone has ever heard. Like, imagine going up to someone and saying, like, you look like trash today. Are you blind or stupid? It just kind of seems like dude isn't even trying at this point. The quiet kid's like, what? Like, okay, I guess. Like, he wasn't trying to, like, I don't know. The quiet kid wasn't trying to like entertain this. He wasn't trying to like make it into something that it didn't need to be. So he kind of like ignored it low key and was like, all right, bro, like, I don't really care. Like, you can say what you want, I guess. And the bully's just like, did you cut your own hair? Because it looks super trash today as well. Remember, these kids were like freshmen in high school or something. So it's like you default dance on them in real life and that's somehow like an actual victory or something, apparently. I don't know, man. But anyways, the bully's just like, like, he looks down at his shoes like, bro, what are those shoes? Did you get those in the old man section? And they were like Nike shoes. Like, they were like very normal shoes. Honestly, I think the bully just at this point, he already started picking on this kid, so he like couldn't stop picking on the kid or something. So he's like, yeah, did you get those shoes in the old man's department? Because what are those, bro? And, like, everyone's kind of just looking at the bully right now because, like, dude, no one disliked the quiet kid. No one was, like, best friends with him. But they kind of, like, they were witnessing how just, like, out of pocket this was. How, like, unnecessary this was. And just, like, how kind of goofy this whole thing was, right? And the bully's like, you also, are you allergic to deodorant or something in showers? Because you smell super bad. And, like, maybe the quiet kid didn't smell like super great, but like he wasn't notoriously a stinky kid, right? So everybody's just kind of looking at the bully, and the bully's like, yeah, that's what you get, bro. And he goes back to sit down, and like the bully's two little henchmen like high five him, and they're like, you totally showed him, dude. And everyone else is kind of just like, bro, well, you showed what? Like, dude, I don't really know. I always feel like, if there's a bully in school, I would at least have an ounce of respect for them if they fought people their own size. Like, obviously, I don't have respect for anyone who's a bully, clearly, but I at least feel like it would be better if they didn't just pick on people who didn't deserve it. Like, if they were picking on people that were genuinely bad people, I wouldn't support them, but I wouldn't hate on them as much as I do. But dude, like, they were really, like, this bully specifically, he's just picking on kids who just don't deserve it. And the quiet kid didn't really seem like he was fazed at all. He almost was like laughing a little bit, which everyone took as a good sign because they're like, okay, whatever, he doesn't really care that much. Little did they know that the quiet kid was like some kind of anime protagonist. This guy was like, he was about to play some games like from Death Note, right? He was about to be both L and also the main character. I forgot his name. I haven't watched that show in like a year. But dude was like planning like the craziest way to ruin the bully's life. And, ruin it in like fair ways, as you'll see what I mean. He's not actually going to do anything that bad. He's just going to expose the bully again and again in a pretty creative and interesting way. So the bully right now has completely forgotten about the quiet kid because at this point, right, the bully says like, all right, I'm on to the next person that I'm going to mess with. But the quiet kid has not forgotten about the bully. And the quiet kid is about to go on to just do one of the most insane, craziest things ever. Like, it is legitimately like a TV show arc at this point. So right now, Liam is kind of like a bystander in most of this. He witnessed the bully go up to the quiet kid and say all this stuff. And let's go on to the next phase of the story. So all of a sudden, Liam gets word that the bully and his long-term girlfriend of like 2 years, which in middle school is like you've been 2 years in like high school terms, or like middle school to high school terms, is like you guys have been married for 30 years. You have 5 kids. You have 2 grandkids. You got a house. You got a vacation house. You got 2 golden retrievers together. Like in middle school terms, 2 years is crazy because this is their freshman year of high school. So from 8th grade to 9th grade. But apparently, they broke up. And it wasn't just because they wanted to see other people. Apparently, the bully was exposed for cheating. So Liam was sitting at the lunch table, and he's like, how was he exposed? Like, did the bully's girlfriend walk in on him? Did the girl that he was cheating with confess to the bully's girlfriend? Did the bully feel bad and confess to his girlfriend? Which the bully would have never confessed this thing. And they were like, no, like, it's actually a really interesting story. So one of the kids at Liam's lunch table goes on to say that, one day, the bully's girlfriend was just sitting down, enjoying herself. I don't know, just like on like whatever, right? Just watching Netflix or something on a Friday night. And she gets a message on Instagram. She gets a DM request from an account called Anonymous, like 2748 321 100 420 69, right? It was like one of those like burner accounts. And the message said, I have proof that your boyfriend, Liam, has cheated on you. And she obviously is very interested now because it's a fake burner account. She doesn't know who it is, but obviously they know who she is, and they know that like her boyfriend, and apparently they have information that she cheated on him. So attached to it was like screenshot and screen recordings and just like all of this proof basically of Liam talking with these other girls, flirting with them, like making plans to like hold hands with them. I don't know, dude. It's freshmen. Maybe they're like kissing or something. Dude, who knows? Oh my God, dude. They're going to get to 12th base. Dude, what's 12th base? Holding hands. Oh my God, they can get pregnant from that. You know how middle school goes, right? So, yeah. And, Liam was sitting at the lunch table. Okay, not Liam. Sorry, the bully. If I said Liam's girlfriend, I meant the bully. Dude, I don't even have more than one name, and I'm already messing this up. But anyways, right, so Liam's sitting at the lunch table, and he's just like, oh my God, like, that's crazy, dude. Like, an anonymous account, I wonder who it could be. Like, who would want, like, to expose this kid like that? Yeah, so Liam, like, just lost, like, a 2-year-long relationship, which was pretty crazy, but it doesn't end there. Because a couple days later, word gets around that Liam is, like, in big trouble with the academic deans. Or not Liam, sorry, the bully is in big trouble with the academic deans. So Liam is like, once again, like talking to his friends, like, dude, like, do you know what the story is? And they're like, yeah. So his friends start telling them that there was an anonymous report to like the academic deans or whatever of just tons and tons of proof of Liam cheating. However, cheating on his tests or whatever. However, all of the proof came from the same class that Liam the bully and the quiet kid had. At this point, Liam had not figured out that it was like the quiet kid, because I think I made it a little clear that it is actually secretly the quiet kid doing this. But you guys have to remember, at this point, nobody's the wiser. Basically, nobody's the wiser at this point, which makes it pretty interesting in my opinion, right? So Liam and his friends, they're all sitting at the table, and they're just like, and Liam's like the first to say, "Do you think there's a connection?" And they're like, "What do you mean?" And Liam's like, "Well, think about it. An anonymous account reported Liam to his girlfriend that he was cheating. An anonymous person / student reported Liam to the academic dean that he was cheating." And he kind of looks around. Not Liam, sorry, the bully. I'm so sorry. I knew this guy at camp whose name was Liam, who was kind of a jerk. I'm getting them mixed up in my head. So if you hear me say Liam got exposed, I'm not talking about Liam, the subscriber. I'm talking about the bully. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do that subconsciously. Just realize that, please. So Liam was like, yeah. So the other people at the lunch table kind of like are like, no, there's no way. But then the kid that that was telling Liam about what he heard, he's like, no. Let's hear Liam out. I think there's actually a chance that that's how it's going, right? So they think about it for a second, and they're just like, it's too much of a coincidence that within days of each other, right, an anonymous person makes an account to like expose Liam to his girlfriend and exposes him to the deans. The thing is though, like not Liam's account. You know what I mean, guys. I'm sorry. You guys are gonna have to figure it out. Exposes the bully, right? And Liam's just like, the thing is though, Liam doesn't realize that the kid that like is exposing the bully is the quiet kid yet. It seems like it's pretty obvious, but you guys have to realize that they didn't really think of the quiet kid, because no one really did, and that's just kind of how the quiet kid liked it, right? And so you might be thinking, well, that's probably like the end of it. There was another instance. So basically, I'll tell the story from the bully's perspective, because Liam heard this story later on, but I'm just going to tell it from the bully's perspective to keep things interesting. On a Saturday night, the bully was preparing to go, and the bully was he didn't just bully kids in school. He also liked doing graffiti stuff. So he was planning to like mark up or whatever this one like abandoned building, right? And he was telling all of his friends. Like, he didn't tell one friend, he like told a ton of people, which turns out was actually a bad idea. So the bully like starts to walk 20 minutes over. He has his backpack with all the spray cans or whatever. He makes it to the abandoned building. And then all of a sudden, he gets there, and these two older men walk out. And the two older men are in blue uniforms, with blue hats, with the sunglasses, with the police badge. He has just been caught before he did anything. And the two officers say, "Hey there, son. What are you doing around here?" The bully's just like, I was just going for a night stroll, officers, like nothing to worry about. And they're just like, "Really?" It's like, do you mind if we take a little look in your backpack? And at this point, remember, because the whole thing was rattling with cans or whatever. And he's like, and the officer goes over, just like, just want to take a little peek inside. And the bully doesn't say no or anything, so he unzips it. And sure enough, there was spray paint, cans, and all that stuff. And the officer said, "Yeah, we little birdie told us that you were probably going to come over here and spray paint the place. Mark it all up. And if you don't know, that is very much against the law." And they're like, you seem like, you're a young kid. You got a lot of life in front of you. We're not going to do anything right now. We might write it up or something, but we're going to let you go. But just so you know, on your second offense, we are not going to be very nice at all. Take this as a warning. So the bully went back home, and immediately the bully starts to catch on that this is not a coincidence. So the bully himself brings up a task force. I don't really know. He talks to his two close minion friends. He's like, we got to figure out who this rat is. We got to figure out who's doing all of this and who it could be. The problem is, though, the bully had the longest list on planet Earth of people who might want to wrong him, because remember, he's the school bully. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, comment bully down below. That'll be the secret word of the day. I know these words are pretty easy to predict, but I'm not trying to trick people, right? I just want to see generally who's making this far into the video, right? And also, if you want to support the channel, genuinely the best thing you can do is to binge watch the old videos. Please let me know in the comment section down below how many old videos you've binge watched, or you could also tell me what you do while binge watching my videos. Either are appreciated. I will try and heart and respond to those comments as a way to say thank you for watching my videos, because it really, really does help. Anyways, though, right? So the bully right now is trying to come up with like we got to figure out who this is. And so that's the story that was told to Liam at the lunch table. And Liam is just like, to his friends, he's like, dude, this is clearly the same person. We got to figure out who it is. So they're all sitting down at the lunch table, and they go into Sherlock Holmes mode, right? Liam's like, okay, let's do a little deduction here. I'm doing induction in my discrete math class, so I almost said, let's do a little induction here. Sorry about that. And he's like, okay, so this kid like somehow had access to like photos or videos of like Liam's like cheating on some other girls. And the thing was, though, it had been going around for a while, like rumors that Liam had been cheating on his girlfriend with a bunch of other girls in the school. But obviously they didn't want to say anything about it. Or not obviously, but they probably didn't want to say anything about it because they knew that like Liam was like a scary figure or something. And they just didn't want to mess with the guy. But somehow that like some girl or multiple girls confessed to who it was, right? So Liam's like, oh, not Liam, sorry, the bully. Once again, if I say something and I say Liam said, and it sounds like the bully's supposed to say it, I meant the bully. I'm going to make that mistake again. But anyways, so Liam's like, well, do we know who the girls might be? And so the friend who was telling Liam about all this stuff about the bully getting exposed was like, so I didn't get any names about the girls cheating. However, I do have my suspicions. So there's this girl named Kate, who was very, 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 very flirty with Liam for like the last 6 months. She was a prime suspect. It also happened to be that, not flirty with Liam, flirty with the bully. I just can't not get this right. I might want to change the main guy's name, but it's too late at this point. So this girl, Kate, was very flirty with the bully. However, she was also friends with Liam's friend, who was telling him all about this. So Liam's friend decides to find Kate, the girl who was flirting with the bully. And one of these, just like later that day, just like, hey, can I talk to you? And she kind of looks at him nervously, like, what's it about? And he's kind of just like, hey, so I got a feeling. So, this girl, Kate, who is like kind of suspected to be cheating with the bully, or the bully was cheating with, let's call the subscriber Alex. Liam's friend is kind of just like, hey, so I'm pretty sure that you and Liam had a thing. He was being exposed recently. We think the person exposing him for his like academic, his cheating and his spray painting, we think that they're all the same person. Did anyone happen to ask you for like proof? Because like the bully's girlfriend was sent proof, like screenshots or whatever. And at this point, Kate kind of looks at Liam's friend nervously and is like, okay, yes, I was one of the people that Liam cheated on with. Like, we're not talking anymore. I don't even like that kid. Like, it just happened. And, Liam's friend is just like, oh, like, that's fine. Like, everyone has flings and stuff. But, like, can you tell me who? Like, who's been, like, ratting him out, basically? And the girl's like, look, like, that guy, like, Liam's had it coming, the bully's had it coming for a while. Like, this kid, like, I don't want to expose him because he's doing a good thing. I can't tell you. But you can ask me more questions, but I just can't reveal his identity. And Liam's friend was, like, understanding. He's like, yeah, that's fine. And this girl that the bully cheated on with was like, yeah, this kid, he's just been having it coming for a while. Like, the bully's been messing with so many people. And here's the thing. This girl was in class with Liam, the bully, and the quiet kid. She was like, yeah, remember like a week ago how he just started berating that kid, like that quiet kid that nobody ever that doesn't talk with anyone. That guy seems nice enough. He was just sitting there. He was just minding his own business. And all of a sudden Liam comes over with his big lumbering self and just calls him ugly and stupid and all this kind of stuff. He's such a bad guy, man. You know what happened to him deserves to happen to him. And Liam's friend was kind of looking at her like, Stuff was starting to click in Liam's friend's head. So he was like, that's oddly specific that she happened to mention like the quiet kid, right? So okay. Liam's friend goes back to the lunch table. Liam and all the other guys are sitting there. And Liam's friend's like, all right, I talked to the girl that the bully cheated with, right? And she said that because this guy who's exposing him is doing good things, that she doesn't want to like expose him, right? Because she wants like him to keep doing like quote unquote like the good work, right? However, And Liam's friend goes on to say, like, turns to Liam, like, in class, like a week ago. And Liam's like, uh-huh. Like, when the bully, like, picked on the kid who doesn't really talk that much. And Liam's like, uh-huh. Because now stuff is starting to click in Liam's head. And he's like, well, after saying that, like, she couldn't tell me who, she went on a whole rampage about how Liam just picked on that quiet kid for no good reason. And she seemed really passionate about it. And everyone at the table was like, uh-huh. And he's like, did I say Liam picked on? I meant the bully. Sorry. And Liam's like, do you think it was him? And, like, at this point, they all start to think, and Liam's like, wait a minute, the bully, like, the quiet kid did have a good reason to think that, like, the bully was, like, he did have a good reason to do this, right? The bully really did lash out at him. And Liam's like, well, it didn't seem like he took it that hard. And then again, like, he's like, well, he is pretty quiet, so I don't know if he would have told anyone if he was taking it that hard. But word got out the next day that Liam was going to beat up this kid at the end of the school day. That word was going to get out that this kid didn't give him the answers in history class. So that Liam was going to beat up this kid. We're going to call this kid Ben. Not Liam. God, I'm such an idiot. The bully was going to beat up this kid. I'm sorry. There's this kid that I went to camp with who was like the quintessential bully. So for some reason in my head right now, whenever I say bully, I think of Liam. And then I just say the word Liam. So please add in context clues for the rest of the story, and I apologize for all the times I've already messed up. Leave a like to save my brain from falling apart. So there's word going around that the bully was going to beat up this kid at the end of the day because he didn't give him the answers in history class. And at this point, Liam and everyone else at the lunch table, when they're sitting down talking about this, they were like, what are the odds that the teachers show up to stop this? And Liam's friend was like, I'm going to say pretty good. And Liam's like, wait a minute. Let's go up to the quiet kid today in class and just like have a conversation with him and happen to drop the fact that Liam's going to like beat up this kid, right? So that's what they do. In class, they like they sit near the quiet kid. There's like kind of a talk to your neighbors type discussion type thing. So they're talking to the quiet kid about whatever they're supposed to. And then when they finish up talking, right, there's still a little bit more time. So they bring up, oh, you hear that like Liam, the bully is going to like beat up this kid at the end of class. And they give the quiet kid very specific information. And the quiet kid's like, oh, okay. He doesn't say that much because he's the quiet kid. He doesn't speak that much. That's kind of just how he rolls, right? And sure enough, at the end of the day, the bully is going over to where this kid who didn't give him the answers in history class, he's going to his locker where this kid is probably going to pick up his backpack. So the kid is standing there in his locker about to pick up his backpack when the bully comes up and says, oh, hello there, Ben. You know, I don't think it was a great idea for you to not, just give me the answers in history class today, Ben. It just would have been so easy for you just to let me see your answers, Ben. Come on. And Ben kind of backs up a little bit. And the bully's like, and it also would have prevented so much of what is about to go down. Like, Ben, this is so unnecessary. What is about to happen? It's just so unnecessary, man. And you're a good kid, so I hate that this is going to happen to you. I really do. From the bottom of my heart, I hate this is going to happen to you. So in the future, next time when I ask for something, all of this can be avoided. And, Ben kind of backs up. He's like, what are you going to do? And the bully's kind of just like, well, I need to make sure that I need to convince you that later on it'll be a good idea to give me the answers. The bully gets all big and menacing, goes up to this kid, was basically going to give him like a punch or two or something. And that's when two teachers burst out of the nearby classroom and say, bully, stop it right there. You're coming to the front office with us. And in the blink of an eye, boom, just like that, the bully's brought away. And so there wasn't a ton of evidence on him, but since he kind of had a rep already, they got him in a decent amount of trouble. The kid was suspended for 2 days, in-school suspension, so he had to stay in school. He couldn't just go home and tell his mom, oh, the system's corrupt, and just let me play video games all day. He had to stay in school. It was super boring. It was pretty bad punishment, right? So at that point, the next day after Liam gets the day that Liam has his first day, the day that the bully, has his first day of in-school suspension, Liam and everyone else at the lunch table, like, we're sitting down and they're just like, dude, it's definitely the quiet kid. Like, we told him all the details, and then all of a sudden, they show up exactly when the bully's going to do something. But that's when Liam's friend brings up the very real possibility. And he's like, well, here's the thing, guys. We knew that information, which means that a lot of other people did too. And yeah, that's actually a pretty solid point, because if like Liam and all of his friends were told that the bully was going to be there at that time, just telling the quiet kid that information doesn't necessarily mean that the quiet kid was the one who was been behind all of this, because if they knew the information, that means a lot of other people knew the information. They could have told it too. So that's when Liam brings up another suspect. So they thought it was the quiet kid for a second, but then they thought of another suspect. And it was this kid who was fairly well liked. He was a kind of popular-ish kid, or he was more popular before. And this was before the bully pulled down his pants in front of the entire school. Yeah, so a little backstory is needed, I guess. So there's this kid. We're also going to call him Ben. I know I called another guy Ben, but he won't be featured later on in the story. So we're going to call this new kid Ben. Ben used to be more popular, and he also cared a lot about his popularity. This all kind of went down a little bit, or his presumed middle school popularity, or high school at this point, I guess, which who really cares, dude? But this all went down one day in the lunchroom. So the bully and this kid were kind of getting in an argument, a playful one though. Like the bully was like, oh, like, I'll do your mom, lol, or whatever. Or like, your mom didn't say that to me last night. Just kind of like annoying stuff like that. And the bully got like so upset about this that the bully was like, he was going to take it from like a playful conversation to like super serious. The bully's like, what's that? He points behind him and Ben's like, what? Ben turns around. The bully gets up and pulls down his pants. Doesn't yank down his underwear too, that would have been much worse, but yanks down his pants and then screams, everyone, Ben's in his underwear! Everyone turns around. They all look at Ben. Some people are laughing or whatever. Some people are like pointing and talking to each other. Ben gets super embarrassed, pulls up his pants, and runs out of there. So yeah, it's kind of a stupid thing to lose quote-unquote popularity over, but then again, high school/middle school popularity is a stupid thing in the first place. So play stupid games, you have to play by the stupid rules as well, or earn stupid prizes. However the saying goes, right? So, when Liam brought this up, all the other kids were like, yeah, and, Ben is friends with with the girls as well, and Ben happens to, he just knows a lot of people. We have good reason to believe that Ben is the one who turned in the bully, right? Little did they know that they were right about the quiet kid being the one. However, they are now wrong thinking that it's Ben. So now they're going around in a wild goose chase, trying to prove that it's Ben or whatever. And they're talking to people. They confront Ben, and Ben's like, no, whoever the kid's who's exposing him is the goat, right? Because Ben obviously hated that kid. But he's like, yeah, it's not me, but whoever's doing it's a pretty cool guy. So honestly, Liam and his friends kind of thought that was a low-key confession, because Ben was like, oh, I'm not doing it, but whoever's doing it is super awesome. I don't know, I can kind of agree that kind of sounds like something of trying to confess it without actually confessing it. It's I don't know who that is, but whoever they are, it's the best person ever. It's like Loki trying to inflate your own ego there, right? But in fact, Ben just was a fan of the guy exposing this kid that everyone hated. So at this point, Liam and all of his friends kind of started telling people that they were convinced that it was Ben. Ben was the one who was in charge, behind all of that or whatever. And all of a sudden, word started getting out that Ben was behind it. And Ben was telling everyone, no, I'm not behind this, guys. Come on, I'm not behind it. However, right, not everyone believed him. Not everyone believed that he wasn't really behind it, because everyone else also thought to themselves, well, there's actually a good reason, there is a good case for Ben being the guy who's been turning him in. So sure enough, the bully gets wind of this. The bully hears this, and the bully kind of believes it as well. So word now starts to get out that the bully is planning to confront Ben at the end of school. Word of this spreads like wildfire. So everyone hears about it, including the quiet kid, right? So this is the climax. This is the ending of the story, where you get a nice, clean ending. Fast forward to class, where Ben the quiet kid, and the bully all have together. Back to the beginning, back to the basics, back to a week ago when this story started. So word is getting out, and the quiet kid now knows. And at this point, right, class is over, the bully's getting up, and this was like the last class of the day or something, or it was close to the end of the day. So the bully's getting up, getting ready to go and find Ben, basically. And the quiet kid gets up and says, "Hey, man, can I talk to you for a second?" And Liam overhears this, and his eyes widen up. Because that's when Liam's like, wait a minute, what if it still is the quiet kid? So Liam kind of sneaks around and sneaks in a place where the quiet kid and the bully can't be seen. However, he can at least hear them. He can't be seen by them, but he can hear them. And he overhears this. The quiet kid says, "I see, you're going to go, after Ben today." The bully's like, "Well, yeah, he's been turning me in." The quiet kid's like, "Ben hasn't been turning you in. I have." Dead silent, right? The bully almost has a look of shock on his face. And the quiet kid goes on to say, "Yeah, and it was incredibly easy to do so. You might think that I don't know anyone. You might think that I'm this harmless, not a threat at all. But what you got to understand is I have a lot of time on my hands, man. And you might be thinking that me exposing you to your girlfriend, me exposing you to the academic dean, me calling in the police on you, you might think that that is the worst that I can do. But just so you know, Mr. Bully," says his actual name, right? "I know everything about you. I know every little dirty secret you have. And I was smart enough not to drop it all out at once. I just teased the tip of the iceberg. You and I both know the rest that I have. All your secrets are not just between you, they're between me as well. So look, I'll give you an option. Reform your ways, be a good person, don't mess with anyone who doesn't deserve it. And the secrets will stay between us. No one else will need to know. But if you continue doing what you're doing, then justice will be served." And the quiet kid freaking mic drops and just gets up and walks out of there. And the bully stands there, pale in the face, looking like he saw a ghost. And he just kind of slumps to the wall for a second, freaking out at this point. And, Liam's in kind of an awkward situation because he's hiding in the classroom. So he pretends to grab his stuff and walks quickly out of there. And from that day on, the bully was an okay person. He wasn't a great person, but he didn't outwardly pick on anyone. He was a jerk every once in a while, but he didn't, go up and be like, you look stupid. No, he didn't do any of that. He also didn't fight any kids anymore. And moral of the story is, don't mess with the quiet kid, man. Click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it.